So your album is due out any day now after, from what I understand, quite a long period of sitting around waiting. So how are you feeling about it all?
I feel good, excited.
Right.
Yeah, I just can't wait to celebrate and drink champagne. Finally, finally, it'll be out into the world. So yeah, it's been such a long time coming that I think I'm just yeah.
So from my understanding, most of it was recorded back in 2019. So what happened to, was it all COVID related, or were there other things involved in keeping it from happening?
COVID definitely put a halt to the timing of things, but I also was working on film jobs
Right.
in between. So yeah, that kind of meant that I couldn't release it as soon as I would have liked to.
What kind of film
But I was
things are you doing?
Pardon?
What kind of film things were you doing?
I work in costume
Okay.
on set. So I was on a couple of really long jobs, but I also felt like I had to figure out the sound of it. The mixing actually, like, it changed quite a bit. So I just was taking my time with it to get it right.
Right. So what did you come up with? What were you thinking about, and what kind of influenced that thought process?
In terms of the mixing?
Sound. The sounding.
Honestly, I think it was just because I had such long periods of time in between. I would listen to how everything was, and I don't know how to explain it, because I'm not very good with the technical aspect of mixing, so that was quite hard. But I mean, also a really amazing learning experience of learning how to communicate with someone who is dealing with that whole aspect of the song, and realizing how important it is to transfer from, you know, my mind to the writing to the band to the computer to the mixing. So it was just a matter of me knowing that it wasn't right yet, or that I had to develop it further, or that I could hear other things in it, or there needed to be, just a balance, like finding the right balance for myself and what I heard in my head.
Gotcha.
Do you know what I mean?
I do. Yes. So how many other people, who else were you working with making this record? You're obviously an engineer of some description. Sounds like you were doing the producing. What else?
Yes. So, when we recorded it with the band at my dad's studio up north, I had a recording engineer called Colleen Brennan, who used to play bass for Solid Gold Hell.
Okay.
In the 90s.
Right.
So she was engineering it all. We recorded it over 1 week up north. And then I took all of those stems to Morgan Allen in Auckland, and then pretty much spent the next 2 years, 2 years trying to piece it together. And I did end up recording, re-recording a whole song, which was actually Burning Heaven. I went back to Dad's and recorded it by myself.
Gotcha.
And re-recorded a whole bunch of different elements and vocals and all that sort of stuff.
So you and Morgan still on speaking terms after all that for 2 years?
Yes, we are. But yeah, it's been a journey, and I really appreciate his patience. And he kept pushing on through. So
cool.
And trusting that that I knew that it was going to get there. But I mean, I wouldn't do it that way ever again. I think it was just, it was a big learning curve in terms of, I didn't record the album prepared. I just kind of went, I need to do it. This is the time. I got to make it happen. So
you must have had these songs ready before you. So what was that process like? Is this the first thing you've ever recorded? Because I don't know. So have you done anything else, or is this it?
I have recorded a couple of demos years ago, but they never became anything. So yeah, it was my first recording of a body of work.
Right.
And yeah, sorry, what was the question again?
Well, I guess, so when you were writing the songs, was that with an idea of actually making this into a record? Let's say, take the opening track, Hellhole. When did you know at that point that this was what was going to happen with it?
All of my life, I'll never belong to the hellhole. Promise myself I'll never belong to the hellhole.
Yeah, I think I did. When I moved from Auckland to my dad's warehouse up north, and I think at that point I'd just written Hellhole when I moved up there, and that was kind of around the same time that I decided that I was going to make an album. So yeah, I think a few of the songs were already written prior to me deciding that.
Okay.
And then I just gave myself a time frame and a deadline and said I need to record an album at this time, so I better get cracking on writing some music.
All right. So you talked about the sound that you were looking for, and that's kind of what took so long. So what kind of sound? 'Cause to me, I hear kind of vaguely Americana sound, but it's mixed with, there's like electronic beats in there. It's kind of an interesting mix of ingredients, but and it is unique. So yeah, tell me what you're thinking about.
Well, I think for starters, I did want to make something that was unique and different, because that's what I want to listen to, is something fresh. Well, I think I took all of the elements that I like and just blended them together. I don't know necessarily what that is. I guess naturally, in terms of my songwriting, I lean more towards maybe sort of writing folk or country because of the simplicity of it. And if I'm writing with a guitar, it's kind of what I've been brought up around. But yeah, in terms of the sound, I don't know, I think like that big sort of verbed out and layers of harmonies is very suited to like the vast landscape of where we live. And I don't know, it feels like the sound of
Now, have you done any live shows yet?
No, I haven't played live for 5 years, and I'm doing an album release show.
Is it the 19th?
Next Saturday.
Yeah.
So that's going to be massive for me, because one is the album release show, and two, I haven't performed live for a very long time.
So you're putting a band together, or what's it going to be like?
Yeah, I've got a full band. Okay. Full band, full throttle.
So when 5 years ago, what was a live performance of you like? What were you doing? What songs were you performing?
I was singing a lot of country, like classic, like Kitty Wells and things like that.
Right.
And also, I think like songs that I had written, but they were all very sort of unfinished, underdeveloped, sort of winging it on the night. And I would be singing with a guitar, and a good friend of mine, Tiare Kelly, who will be playing in the band, and she'd be with a second guitar and singing harmonies. So I was very used to always singing with harmonies, and that's probably why there's so many in my record. Right.
Okay. So have you been rehearsing with the band, working up to the record release?
Yes, it's full on rehearsal time leading up, and we actually just spent 2 days up north rehearsing at my dad's warehouse. So yeah, it's full on.
So I think I ran into Bob Frisbee was looking for you had to change locations, and he was walking right past my studio here, and
classic.
He was on his way to finding some new spot for you. So where have you landed this time with them?
We've landed at the Polish Association in Morningside, which is a really lovely little hall space.
Uh-huh.
And I'm really happy with it. Yeah. I lucked out because, it's quite hard finding venues on here.
All right. I just want to touch on a couple of the songs in particular. One, especially Nuclear Bombs, is a startling song, lyrically at least. And so what's going on there? What brought that on?
That's a good question. And I haven't prepared myself actually for the answers.
Okay.
But I can tell you, I mean, I wrote it in about 10 minutes and I was at my dad's house and there had been a massive head-on collision right outside the window.
Oh, man.
Fire brigade were there and the police were there. And it was kind of this moment of, oh, look, another person has, died in that corner. And I just sort of made me think of a lot of things to do with there's just actually I can't I'm gonna go into like a rabbit hole. This song is many layers, and I don't know how to actually link what I'm talking about with that car crash happening, but somehow that car crash started the beginnings of that song.
Okay, that's a good place to start. People will have to hear the record to find out how it ends, right?
Yeah.
Very good. And I understand there's a new video on the way for the title track for Venus is Home, which you kind of did you work with your father? Was he like, and since you're in the biz, how involved are you in the video making?
Yeah, well, I pretty much think of the idea and then I source the costume and then I find my DOP, whoever's available. And for this one, because I've been shooting the past 2 video clips with my friend Matt Hunter.
Uh-huh.
So this one I asked Dad because I felt like I was just rinsing Matt way too much. And so he shot it and we shot it up north in Mongturoto. And I just actually got back because I had to do some pickup shots.
Oh.
And it's now added a new location into the world, which I'm really happy with.
Right.
It was good.
Okay. And I've heard the song, but I haven't seen the video, obviously. So what can you kind of tease us with that?
It's black and white.
Uh-huh.
It's a lot of landscape and it's quite sculptural. In terms of, yeah. All
right. And the song itself, it starts out with I think there's a line about going down to the local Foursquare. So it's very Kiwi.
Yeah, so I think the visuals for it are completely the opposite of what I'm singing about in a way.
Okay.
But yeah, it's, I think the character is more like symbolic for maybe like a bird.
All right. And you mentioned it was Burning Heaven that you had to come back and put some new stuff on. And so tell me about that. It sounded to me like there was like bongos or something in there. I don't know if there were bongos, but
yeah, congas.
Congas, yes, that sounds more like it.
Yeah, so I actually completely re-recorded that song. The original version was like this weird, crazy, psychedelic, like Woodstock rock and roll song, which was just didn't work at all. So I re-recorded it with William Jackson.
Uh-huh.
He played the percussion throughout the whole album. And I think I just tried it in a new style and it worked better.
All right. Speaking of style, I think I read somewhere that it was kind of described as rural New Zealand Western music. and which made me think of the new Jane Campion film, which is kind of this American Western, supposedly taking place in Minnesota or someplace, but it's actually down south in the South Island. So it seems like it's kind of a thing that's happening, and you may be part of it.
Yeah, I mean, I love me a good Western.
All right. Have you seen that film?
No, but costume designer, the costume designer who worked on it, I've worked with before, so I've been meaning to see it. Have you seen it?
Yes, I have. The only thing that I loved, I thought the film was great, and everybody's going on about how the mountains down in South Island look just like they do in Minnesota, but I don't think they look anything like it because they're.
Who's saying that then?
In all the reviews that I read, overseas and stuff, and to me, because I'm American, as you can probably tell from my accent, but I've been living here for a while, and New Zealand has an extremely unique look, especially the rolling kind of glacially made mountains down there, and that's not what they look like in Minnesota. They're very rugged and pointy. So I just no, that looks like Otago to me. It still looks like Otago. Well, anyway, everybody's happy about it, and I think she's going to win lots of awards for the movie, so that's always a good thing. So since it's been so long since you made this record, do you have a bunch of other new music in your head or laying around that you're ready to go with?
Definitely. I'm itching to start the next album already.
I'll bet.
Yeah. That's what I want to get onto as soon as possible, really.
All righty. And since we don't know anything, I at least don't know anything about you previous to this, tell me a little bit about your musical growing up. What was influential with you, and what got you involved in music?
Well, my father was a country singer.
Okay, that helps.
So there's that. And my mother, on my mother's side, she was an opera singer. And
Nice.
so my grandmother on my English side. So I grew up around a lot of, even my nana was a massive church goer. So a lot of church and a lot of opera and a lot of musicals. They all performed in theatre. So there's the theatre and operatic side, and then there's dad's, my Māori side of the family, which was country music, and same with my grandfather on that side. He used to yodel and so those two worlds combined.
Yep. That's how cool things happen. So what was the first music that did you go out and buy, like pop records, rock and roll records, or what was?
Well, unfortunately, because of the era that I was, like my first record CD was probably something like Avril Lavigne.
That's all right.
I just was in that strange era. But I think my dad listened to a lot of Miles Davis and Joni Mitchell, and Carole King and the Beach Boys.
All right. Classic rock. Yeah, good stuff. All right. You can't go wrong there. And that must kind of seep into what you do then, in the way you think about music.
Strangely enough, it's kind of it's interesting to think about that.
Okay. And again, going back to the fact that music is 2 years old, are you much of a different person now than you were when you wrote these songs?
Incredibly so.
And how does that work when you're singing them now?
You just gotta act.
Okay.
I don't know. I think I still am connected to them because they're a part of. I think once a song's written, it doesn't mean that you have to be completely pure in how you perform it every time, because it's always going to change in what it means to you, and build layers of what it's about. So it's just a song that I wrote that I can perform. I don't think it changes anything.
All righty. So the record,
the fact that I might enjoy more performing newer music, because of
Yeah.
the sound's different. But yeah.
yeah. Well, I guess we'll get to see that in action in a couple of weeks then, huh? And
Yeah.
the record will be out on Friday. Which is it coming out on vinyl and all that stuff, or is it?
Yeah, you can pre-order the vinyl. Yep, Friday. Wow, that's very soon.
It's Tuesday already. Jesus.
Oh my gosh.
So what are you doing mentally to get ready? Anything? Or are you just gonna go, well, whatever?
I'm actually quite busy leading
Right.
up. I've got lots and lots of things to do and
Yeah.
check off the list. But I would like to maybe arrange to celebrate on the Friday. I think that would be nice to not miss
Yep.
organizing that.
Sounds good. Sounds like a plan. Sounds like you deserve it. It's been a long time coming. So,
Yeah.
all right. Well, hopefully we'll see you at the gig on the 19th or whenever. What is it again? The Polish
Polish Association.
Great. Well, with a name like Duda, I'm quite Polish anyway, so that's all right. I'll fit right in. Very good.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for taking time to talk to me because it does sound like you're pretty busy. So I can't wait to hear what this stuff sounds like in person. Very good. Have a great day.
You too. Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.